Hi, Facebook, live stream, listeners and watchers. We're so happy to have you with us today here on Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I have a jam-packed show for you today, and we've got some very exciting stuff to talk about. So remember, you're backstage here. You guys are having a look at what it's like to record a radio show. So this isn't going to be a perfect presentation. You'll be seeing us shifting around and doing the things we do in between segments. But you will be hearing this show first before it even airs. So thank you for being with us. And we are just getting ready to start. Oh, Tom Paladino, would you like to say a quick hello to our Facebook live stream listeners?
Hi, Paula. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Good. Tom is going to be our guest today, and we are talking about a cure for herpes and many other viruses that are supposedly incurable. So stick around. Okay, good. We're good. All right. So, Tom, I'm just going to get ready here to actually start the radio show.
Okay.
Okay, Todd. Thank you. All right. Tom?
Yes.
Is it possible for you to mute yourself until I bring you on?
I'm going to, no, because it's a handheld radio, but I will be very quiet. How's
okay,
that?
That's perfect. I trust you. Okay, here we go. Are we okay, Todd? All right. Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. So happy to have you here with me today. And remember, we are being brought to you by Tom Paladino's Scalar Energy Healing treatment. And that treatment, as always, is being offered to our listeners free of charge by just going to FreeScalar, spelled SCALAR.com, or I'm sorry, .net, FreeScalar.net. If you don't know much about scalar energy and you want to hear about a truly amazing healing system, stick around because Tom is my guest today and we're going to be giving you some amazing information. This show, Change It Up Radio, is my effort at helping people to deal with change. You know, in my work as a life transitions therapist, I'm always talking to clients who are having problems with the upheaval and the discomfort that change tends to bring with it. Even if it's change that we welcome, like marriage or a move, there's still the discomfort of the unfamiliar. And sometimes it brings really huge reactions from people. It can create depression. It can create anxiety for sure, the fear of new things and unfamiliar things. Change can cause us to not sleep as well. You know, it does all kinds of things. So my goal on this show is to spotlight change makers who are making some beautiful changes in the world, and also to bring information to you to help you deal better, more smoothly, and more productively with change. So if you'd like to learn more about my work, you can learn that at paulashaw.com. And if you want to know more about this radio show, Change It Up Radio, or if you'd like to listen to past episodes, because we've had some amazing guests on this show, or if you'd like to learn about becoming a guest yourself or a sponsor of this show, please go to changeitupradio.com. That's changeitupradio.com. All right, so today I promised you that we're going to be hearing about a cure for herpes. We're going to be hearing about some amazing stuff that's really happening out there. And we will be doing that with my guest, Tom Paladino. That will be the beginning of the show, which is going to be amazing. And then Cheri Blair will be joining us to talk about the volatility in the market and the interest rates and what's going to happen with them. So, without any further ado, let me tell you a little bit about Tom Paladino. He is a researcher in Florida, and he has created an amazing scalar energy healing treatment. We are going to be learning more about scalar energy, so I'll let Tom tell you more about that in a moment. But this method that he's created provides remote, fast, harmless, and painless treatment process that has successfully healed patients with HIV, Ebola, herpes, hepatitis, Lyme disease, and over 400,000 other pathogens. It's truly a miraculous healer, and we really want to get into it today because Tom is offering something amazing. And in fact, he's offering it to all of you a free 15-day trial by just going to free Scalar, spelled SCALAR.net. So without any further ado, hi, Tom. It's so good to have you here today.
Thank you, Paula, for the invitation.
You are welcome. As always, it's my pleasure to have you on this show because I think what you're doing is incredible. But let's for our listeners, my mouth is not working today. For our listeners who may not have heard you before, Tom, can we back up a little bit and begin by telling them just exactly what scalar energy is?
Of course. To lay the groundwork, there was a great inventor. His name was Nikola Tesla. I think many people can resonate and recognize that name, Nikola Tesla. Mm-hmm. Tesla was the first one who worked with scalar energy and actually engineered scalar energy instruments. I am in many ways walking in the footsteps of Nikola Tesla. So what is scalar energy? It's a form of sunlight. It is sunlight or starlight. It's the initial energy of the universe. That is scalar energy. There are synonymous terms for scalar energy, such as radiant energy or pyramid energy. Some people call it chi or prana. Mm-hmm. But we're working with an energy that is outside of the electromagnetic spectrum. So the characteristics, the laws of nature that are followed by scalar energy are different than that of electricity and magnetism.
So I've heard you describe it in the past, Tom, as sort of scalar energy is the intelligence of energy. Is that correct?
Yes. Scalar energy carries the intelligence of the universe or the instructions of the universe. So if we look at energy, if we look at light, it is an information system. And what I'm saying that scalar energy is the eternal, the infinite information system for the universe.
And you have learned how to harness it. And if I remember correctly from our past discussions, there is a way you project this energy intentionally at a person or at the pathogen, let's say, that they're dealing with, and it causes that pathogen to sort of implode, to disassemble. Is that correct, Tom?
Precisely. So, again, going back to my earlier statement, if scalar energy serves as the instructions of the universe, it also holds together the chemical bonds of a germ, such as the herpes virus. So I instruct my instrument to negate the molecular bonds that hold together a virus. And with that intelligence, I'm able to break down the molecular code of anything, including a virus. Well, subsequently, if you break down the molecular bonds that hold together the herpes virus falls apart. It ceases to exist.
So that's what I love about this. It's so amazing. It's almost like if you had a structure with 4 walls, if you knock out one of those walls, the whole thing falls apart, correct?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at buildings around here outside of the studio and thinking, wow, if one of those walls went, or somehow that molecular structure that holds it together was broken or weakened, then obviously everything goes. So, Tom, this method that you're describing has been successfully used on many viruses that we are told that what the general public believes is cannot be cured.
Yes.
You mentioned HIV, herpes, Ebola, hepatitis. And I know even this morning in a chat with my daughter, we were talking about this very thing, and I said, I just don't know why more people are not taking advantage of what Tom's offering. And she said, well, maybe it's because it just sounds too good to be true. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people, Tom. They don't even bother to look into something because they think it's too good to be true. But what I love about what you're doing is you have proof. You have many test results people have sent you saying that they no longer have herpes 1 and 2 or some other viral infection, serious viral infection that they have that we are commonly told can't be cured. And on that list of people, some of our listeners may remember that Tom accepted my challenge in his first appearance on my show. And I said, I have suffered with the world's worst fever blisters since I was in my 20s. And I said, I will take your treatment, Tom. And if it works, I will go to a professional lab and I will tell the world about my results. Now, I know I had been tested before, so I for sure had the herpes 1 virus in my system. And as we all know, that's what creates fever blisters and cold sores. Well, I did Tom's treatment, and then I went and had a test called a PCR test. And Tom, can you quickly describe to them what the PCR test is looking for, what it is?
Sure. The PCR test is used in molecular biology to ascertain the genetic code if any part of a genome is in a person. That is, if we conduct a PCR test for herpes, it's going to look for the nucleotide sequence of that virus. And if the PCR test detects any nucleotide sequence, then you're deemed to be infected. You have a viral load. However, if the PCR test cannot find any sequence, any nucleotide sequence in your body, you're deemed to be cured, or as the medical community would say, not detected.
Okay, not detected, correct. So I went to Quest Laboratories, which, as most people know, is a professional lab. And I am going to show our Facebook live stream listeners right now on the screen the results of that test. I'm hoping it's close enough that you can see that the results very much say HSV1, which is herpes virus 1, not detected. My system is cleared of that virus only because of the treatment that you did with me, Tom. And when we come back from this break, let's talk a little more about how this happened and what a life-changing, amazing, wonderful thing it has been for me. We'll be right back. Okay. Thank you, Tom. Are you ready to go? Thank you, Todd.
Beautiful. You structured this very well. It's discernible. Any layperson can look at this and say, well, this is of merit. Good for you. Good work.
Thank you. Well, I want everybody to know what an amazing thing you have created here. So if you're ready to go, Tom, we'll just go right on with the next segment.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. If you're just joining us, you just missed my big news and what we shared on the video of Facebook live stream, my test results done by Quest Laboratories on my herpes 1 virus that has been creating cold sores that have been a nightmare for me since my 20s. And the test results that I just showed on the screen said no detectable DNA of the herpes virus was found in my test. Not detected were the actual words. And I want to mention, Tom, And by the way, if you're just joining us, Tom Paladino, the creator of Scalar Energy Healing, is with me on the show today. And remember that Tom offers a free 15-day trial of this healing, the same healing treatment that cured my herpes. Tom is offering that to anybody by just going to freescalar.net. Scalar being spelled Scalar. Freescalar.net. You know, I had a dream last night. I was actually sharing this with my radio audience. And the line I said, Tom, was, you have nothing to lose but your viral infection or your illness or, whatever it is. This is a free offer. So please take advantage of it. Even if you think it sounds too good to be true, as someone said to me this morning, what do you have to lose? So, Tom, I want to recap for our audience what we were saying in the last segment, that you have figured out a way to use scalar energy, which, by the way, at a conference I was at recently with that was the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine, AIHM, here in San Diego, big conference. Jim Oshman, who's a very well-known researcher, said several times, watch out for scalar energy. It is the future. It is amazing, and there are amazing things going to be done with it. And I thought to myself, oh my God, Tom's already doing them, and all these people don't know. So, Tom, it was just because of your own interest in scalar, I guess, that you even developed your machinery, your technology. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's, God's wisdom and a lot of hard work, frankly.
Yeah, and how many years have you been working with scalar energy?
Well, since I was a child, so it's 40 years now.
Oh, my
Well, even longer.
Wow. And what you have figured out how to do is basically to cause a virus. I'm not sure what you would call it. It's not the cell of the virus, or what is it that disassembles, Tom? Can you explain that?
Sure. When we're attacking a virus, we want to deconstruct, we want to disassemble either the DNA or the RNA inside a virus. And once we do that, the virus cannot operate. It's no longer viable. So I have calibrated my instrument to break down the genetic code of viruses. And in so doing, that virus ceases to exist. We're actually just fragmenting this virus, breaking it down into its constituent parts. That's why it works.
Yes.
We're working with energy. Energy is fundamental. And with scalar energy, you have consummate control over a germ. So we can easily break down the herpes virus, break it apart. And in so doing, you're no longer infected. It's that simple, but this can only be accomplished with scalar energy. You cannot do that with electricity.
Oh, interesting. And prior to knowing you, I always thought there was only one kind of energy in the universe, and that was electromagnetic. But scalar energy is sort of on a whole other level, right? Because it contains the intelligence of the universe.
Yes, indeed. That's right.
Yes.
Well put.
So, Tom, you have this healing treatment that's painless, that's remote. Nobody has to travel to you. It simply works by a person sends you their picture, which has their energetic signature, correct?
That's right.
And then you project to that picture what your machinery is projecting, which is basically, I think, the codes that tear down or tear apart these harmful viruses. Is that correct?
That's correct. So anybody can send me a photograph. Any part of your anatomy will suffice. And with your photograph, I can make a connection with you. And once I make that connection, then I can deliver the intelligence. It's much like two cell phones speaking to one another. First, the cell phones have to make a connection. And after that, with that signal in place, then you can speak. You can share thoughts. You can share intelligence. Well, I work the same way. A scalar energy instrument will connect with a person, and then I can deliver the intelligence. And the intelligence in this case is to instruct the herpes virus to fall apart, to break apart.
Or the HIV virus or Ebola, or you do a whole range of them, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. In total, I've perfected the technique whereby I can destroy over 400,000 species of germs.
Whoa, amazing. And you can do this. You can even project this onto a picture of a group, right? It doesn't have to just be individuals.
That's correct. So many people send me group photographs, sometimes of their entire company. I've been treating companies now, corporations. And in so doing, I could easily treat 200, 300 people by a group photograph. So you see how promising this is. My instruments can easily treat 5, 10 million people a day by way of group photographs.
That is just incredible. Incredible. So, Tom, is everybody out there jumping at the chance to do this?
No, sadly, no. Even though you've been so heroic, Paula, in trying to propagate this message, no, people still don't get it, or they don't believe.
Yeah.
So it's going to take some time. And I realize scalar energy is a new science for people. It is an emerging science. But believe, the test result that Paula is showing is proof that we can destroy, we can eradicate pathogens, germs. This is going to be a game changer in the world of medicine and eventually in other disciplines. So please join us. We are going to change the world with scalar energy.
And you're not the only one who believes that. Many other scientists do. They just aren't as far along as you are and haven't discovered the way to actually use this scalar energy as a healing tool. So what's so fabulous, Tom, about what you've done is you've given people like a whole new chance at life, people whose lives are being dictated by the HIV virus, or, you know, I just learned there are like 6 levels of herpes. I've only had heard of 1 and 2, but there are other levels that have been discovered. And all of the chronic fatigue and just the shame and I can't tell you how many women I have had in my office who innocently got herpes, the herpes 2, the genital herpes, and they have suffered, and they were not people who should have gotten it. You know, many of them did within a relationship that they thought was, you know, with someone that cherished them. So I've seen so much suffering out there. And when I learned about your treatment and then said to you, I will do this and get tested and let's see if it really works, because I wanted to do my due diligence for my listeners. And remember, there was one guy online who was saying Tom Paladino is a scam, because he said nobody gives their last name. Because, by the way, everybody who's listening, on Tom's website, you can see all kinds of testimonials and other people's test results, too. I mean, I'm not the only one out there. And, Tom, is the best website for them to see that other information that you have, would that be at freescalar.net?
The main website is selfhealgo.com.
Selfhealgo.com. SELFHEALGO.com. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. So they can go there, get more information, because I know a lot of people are saying to themselves, this is too good to be true. This guy, you know, how did she fall for this? Or maybe she had a miraculous healing, or maybe she's the only person that this happened for. But no, I'm not. If you go to Tom's website, you'll see tons of testimonials from people who have been cured of things that were really, really impacting their life in a negative way. You know, by the way, I gain nothing from Tom by you going to that website. Tom is really just trying to do God's work and heal people with this amazing technique he's created. So this is not, you're not going to go there and find out, oh, the free treatment is actually $1,000. You're not going to. You can just sign up today by going to freescalar.net. And we just want you to have the opportunity. I want anybody who was suffering with any kind of virus to have the shot. to get rid of it. You know, there years ago, medicine was telling us certain things. We used to do treatments that are now considered pretty barbaric when people were having emotional and mental problems. But we've come a long way, and we're going further. And I'm telling you, I heard James Oshman, who is a well-known researcher, say several times at the AIHM conference, watch for scalar energy. It is going to be huge in the future. Well, I think the future's here. And Tom Paladino, I'm so glad that I met you and that you are offering this healing treatment to everyone and offering it free. So thank you for being with me today. And let's hope we get lots of people who say, why not? I have nothing to lose but my herpes or my HIV or my Ebola or whatever else is impacting your life negatively. You have a shot to lose it. So why don't you take it? All right, Tom, thank you again for being with me. And in just a moment, we'll be back with Cheri Blair. All right, Tom, thank you, thank you.
God bless. Boy, you are so good.
Oh.
God bless. You're so fluid, and you have guts.
No.
You have guts. And you are the first radio personnel that was willing to go on the line and prove this. And everybody else is poo-pooing. So your radio broadcast will go down in history. You've just introduced the cure for herpes, the cure for HIV, like it's never been done before.
No.
Thank God for you. Thank God that you have the courage. Bravo! I am impressed. Yay!
Oh.
You know, you can talk the talk or you can walk the walk. You do both. God bless you. Way to go.
Thank you, Tom. You made me cry.
Yeah, well, it's so. Why? Because millions of people are suffering. We have the easy way to cure them, Paula.
I know.
And you have faith and you have integrity and you've got the courage to do it. Congratulations. I don't know what the big problem is, but I guess we were waiting for you.
Well, thank you, Tom. You know, I'm so glad that I met you, and I will look forward to talking to you very soon. And you want to say goodbye to our Facebook live stream listeners?
I thank everybody for their attendance. I thank everybody for their effort to bring forward this new way of healing. Together, we will change the world. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. All right, Tom. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
God bless.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And now, live stream audience, we are about to be joined by the lovely Cheri Blair, who's going to be talking to us about market volatility and those doggone interest rates going up and a bunch of other stuff that we got to figure out how to deal with. So we'll be right back with Cheri Blair. Okay. Hello, Miss Cheri Blair.
Hello, Paula. How are you?
I am just fine. Oh.
Amber did send the thing that I used to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here.
Don't forget to say what you just said in there, because I told him about what you had said before in terms of like the segments, like taking a little piece out of like one of the videos or whatever, not the videos, but something I could put on Facebook,
Right.
like about the event, like on
Yeah.
the Cheri Blair Financial Services page, business page, and then on LinkedIn and then on Instagram and stuff. Anyway, he had an idea. He said, "Why don't you do X, Y, Z?" And I said, "Why don't you just say it to Paula?" Because he could just.
At the very end, well, she's still doing your show now, Cheri, but at the very end of your show, maybe you stop your Facebook and then do like a 1 minute or 30 seconds of
Oh, yeah.
Facebook Live inviting your listeners to her event.
Perfect.
She could take that link and put it on Facebook.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay. Yeah, of course. Sit down, my dear. Have you already done a mic check? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Todd. All right, little Missy. Let me get my glasses on. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to set intention.
We can do it now, can't we?
Yes, we can. So, live stream listeners, normally I never start a show without setting an intention, but I think Tom and I had an earlier conversation that was really setting an intention for his segment. But I'd like to, if you don't mind, always with all my guests, we just sit for a minute and we do set an intention, because this is such an important and powerful way to get energy to show up in the way you want it to. So if you've never set an intention, or if you've never heard about it, then I'm excited that you're going to learn about it right now, because I use this all the time and in every show. So Ms. Cheri Blair, let's set this intention together.
Let's do that.
Okay, so we set the intention that we will bring to our listeners the highest level of information, that we will share information that could change someone's life or certainly improve it. And we just set the intention that we come together in the spirit of joy and service, and just bringing the highest good to everyone. We ask that our minds be clear and sharp, and that our words flow easily, and that we just have a good time. And would you like to add anything to that, Cheri?
I love that, Paula. Thank you. I just am going to stay with it and know that everything that we have to say is going out to all the listeners that need and want to hear this today.
Oh, perfect. So be it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to begin with the market volatility.
Right. So
Okay.
this is I have 3 points I'm going to make today. Right.
Okay.
You'll see 1, 2, 3
Okay.
on the market volatility, and after that, it's just
Now, are these 3 points going to fit into this segment, and then the next
Yes,
segment we're going to
yeah.
focus on?
and the next
your-
segment is just about
your
the event.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
That's, right here. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. As promised, in studio with me now is the beautiful Cheri Blair, another one of our show sponsors. Cheri Blair Financial Services is her business. And I just realized I don't have her bio in front of me, but I know this woman. I can tell you all about her. For over 20 years, she has been passionate about not just serving women. She also works with men. So guys, you're not being left out. But her goal is to educate women about finances, because, traditionally in our society, women were not the financial, not in charge of the finances in the home. So Cheri wants every woman to really learn about wise ways of investing and using their money so that they can grow beautiful financial futures. So she is here with me today because we have been looking at some volatility in the market lately.
Yes, we have, Paula.
And I know, especially as a woman, that feels a little scary. So what can you tell us?
Well, Paula, you're absolutely right. It is scary. It's scary for all of us, and particularly those that may be investing and may be in the market, but they allow other people in their lives, whether they're professionals, advisors, or a spouse or somebody that's close to them, maybe make the decisions and choices for them about what they should be doing.
Right.
And so they know they're in the market. They're not maybe even sure exactly what they have in the market.
Right.
Or, they might know about how much they have in the market.
Uh-huh.
But so when things go like they had last week, things become volatile in the market, all of a sudden there's a big fear factor.
Yes, huge. And I mean, I'm not one who follows the market every day, I must admit, but has it fallen seriously? I mean,
Right. So after a relatively calm, several months of relatively calm, volatility returned to the stock market in a big way on October 10th last week, right? So with major U.S. indexes sustaining losses of 3% or more. So what that would mean in one day. So what that would mean while the Dow Jones average dropped 832 points.
Woo, that's a lot.
So,
isn't it?
when you see the market going down a couple hundred points, then a couple hundred points, and then all of a sudden 500 points, 900 points, people really do go into fear.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And
what do you advise when that happens? Because I know you've got clients in the market.
Right. So and that's a very good question. Most importantly is not to, oftentimes our emotions take over, right? Particularly, like we were saying.
When your money's flowing out the
Right.
door, you
When
get
see-
very emotional.
Exactly. Of course. So when we deal with this emotionally, oftentimes we do things that might not be in our best interest further down the road.
Right.
So we decide like, oh my gosh, I've got to get out of the market. We call our advisor, our broker, whoever it is, or we do it ourselves if you're doing that, and you just sell everything when it's low. Well, I think I've shared this before on the show, and that is when you do that, you're going to lock in those losses.
Yes.
So if you bought something at $25 a share and it went down to $15 a share, and then you sold it, but the next week or within a couple of weeks it started going back up, you just sold at the low. So you've locked in that loss.
Yeah.
If you don't sell it and you watch, and ride it out, and as it starts to come back, then if you feel like selling at some point, like particularly if you get back to the 25 or above that,
right.
you can start selling some of the profit. So, but what drove what did that drive the selling, or what are the market doing when it did? Why people dropped off? And the reason that's cited by the market observers was, for the most part, the rising of the interest rates. And we've been talking about that on this show. Like, if you remember last month, we talked about after it was an anniversary date, 10 years of the financial crisis, right?
Right.
And we talked about how interest rates are going up, and as they're kind of going up a little by a little, we have to be watching for inflation, and that's been keeping. There's been a check kept on that for the most part, which is good. But still, when interest rates rise, I mean, I know people and have friends that are in the real estate market, right, or even are realtors.
Sure.
And when I talk with my clients that are realtors, the feedback I'm getting from them is that it has just changed. There's just been a big shift out there.
You mean because the interest rates are going up, people are saying, I don't want to buy.
I don't want to buy. So not with the interest rates being up. And then consequently, they're having to lower the prices on their homes or their real estate properties to sell them. And
so this may be a naive question, Cheri, but this is why I love hanging out with you. Why did the interest rates go up? They'd been like similar for so long.
that's a good question. Okay, so we talked about that, like I said, a little bit last month as well. So when even prior to the collapse, which was 10 years ago, the interest rates had been low. They've been keeping the interest rates lower. And then once we had the market collapse, we had what they call the big recession, right? The interest rates, they lowered the interest rates so people would start to buy again. Right?
Yes.
So when the interest, and they kept them low for a long time because we were in, it was called the Great Recession. So we were at that place for a long time. So they kept the interest rates low. The Feds did. Okay, the Federal Reserve.
So that's that's who decides about the interest rates, because I was going to ask you that. The Feds.
The Federal Reserve, yes, yes.
Okay.
They're the ones that
So if things were looking good for so long, what would make them raise the interest rates? Because don't they know then people are going to start kind of pulling in there?
Of course, of course they understand that. But they can't stay low forever. Then we go into deflation, and that's a whole nother topic we can talk about another time.
Okay.
So it was always anticipated or expected that interest, as we came out of the recession and the trajectory was going upward, then we would be rising the interest rates.
I see.
But they maintained, they maintained being held down for a long, long time. In fact, beyond what a lot of people thought they would be.
I see.
Yeah. So while that's important to understand, the factors that drive some of the other factors it was also followed by the weakness in the technology sector, which has been a big driver over the last, long period of time. So the interest rates in the technology sector going down, or the interest rates going up, the technology sector got hit. That created this volatility.
I see.
Which also, I've talked about this, it could mean that it's just a correction in the market. And we've known for a while, those of us financial professionals have known for a while, we're due for a correction because we haven't had one for quite some time.
I see.
Yeah.
So when you say the word volatility, I see a roller coaster going up and then down and up and down. Is that an accurate analogy? Or is volatility just, it all blows up?
No. That would be a crash.
Okay.
That would be a crash.
We don't want that. Okay.
No, we don't want to crash.
So volatility is kind of more up and down?
It can, yes, it's up and down. Now there's low volatility and there's high volatility. And so if we're talking about investments per se, or a particular kind of investment or sector, something might be considered more volatile. That would be more risky. And something with low volatility would be less risky.
I see.
So somebody that was more conservative might only want to invest in the low volatility investments, where somebody that wants this maybe has a longer period of time before they're going to be using their money, and they want to take risk. They might invest some of their portfolio in high volatility things.
And I know you've shared in the past that it's a good idea to diversify your portfolio.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did think I thought it would be a good idea, because I wanted to make 3 points to keep in mind that we look at that were a result of the turmoil.
Okay.
So, for listeners, when this when this happens again, because it will.
Okay.
So
3 points.
So the first point is big market drops are normal. Okay. So that's
don't panic.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, the volatility, right? And they don't always translate into full year losses. In other words, so we've been, doing well for quite some time. It didn't mean that because of the volatility we've had in the last week or so, that meant that everything we gained this year is going to be wiped out.
Okay.
Okay?
That's good to know.
And because it's tempting for investors, as I was saying, to flee the stock market during times of volatility.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah. And a decision
Run for the hills time.
Yeah, that's right. So a decision to do so can prove to be more costly in the long run, is what I was saying, because you're going to, if you disregard what the advisors say or your advisor says and counsel says, and you stay invested for the long time, history will prove that the market does come back around. But, so how much time do we have, right? I mean, some of us have a lot more time than others.
And speaking of time, we have got to go to a break here, so we're going to have to sit on the edge of our seats and wait for those other 2 points that you want to make about what people should do when things get volatile.
Right.
We'll be right back to hear what those things are. Thank you, Cheri.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Okay, you want to just keep going?
Yes, and then I'm going to try to just tie this up really quick. Just 2 and 3.
Yes.
Because I really want to get to that.
Yeah. Okay. Whoops. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I have in studio with me this segment, Cheri Blair, our financial advisor, the one who is all about empowering women to grow beautiful financial futures. And she's been sharing with us today about this crazy market that we've been looking at since the 10th and what we should do about it. So she had 3 points she was just beginning to make in our last segment. The first one was, don't panic, that even though there have been some drops, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to wipe out all your gains for the year. And the second point,
The
Cheri?
second one is fundamentals remain strong in the U.S. So what that means is, you look at the fundamentals, that's how you gauge what's going on in the market and the economy. So the fundamentals have like double-digit corporate earnings growth overall. So that means corporations have over double-digit earnings. That's a good thing.
Oh.
So those would be a fundamental.
Cool.
Also, a consistent economic growth over 3%. That's a fundamental, right? That's something. So you're gonna gauge the fundamentals, right?
Okay.
So that's the second thing. And then the rise of the interest rates will still have, even though it is rising, like I was saying earlier, we are still containing inflation.
Okay.
So if inflation starts to go, as the interest rates rise, if inflation starts to get raised up higher and it's no longer contained, then that would be a concern as well.
I see.
So none of those things were happening. And so that's why,
So that's all good news.
So
right?
you want to pay attention to the fundamentals. That's right. That is good news. So, and the third thing is normal volatility may represent a good entry point for equities.
Now, what does that mean?
Okay, so you've heard the expression to buy low and sell high, right?
Uh-huh.
So when there is turbulence, volatility in the market, and that spikes, and in the backdrop of the economy, the fundamentals are still good. Equities tend to regain their footing rather quickly.
Ah.
So in other words, like I was saying, you bought a share at $25 a share, it went down to $15, and maybe you sold it because you freaked out.
Uh-huh.
And then,
within working with you,
within days or weeks or what have you, it went back up to maybe 18, 21, 23, 24, or 25, and there you did. You lost money in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So you jumped ahead. So we always need to remember that short-term returns may be mixed. So in other words, a return of only from January till now, that would be considered short-term.
Mm-hmm.
But over the long term, spikes in volatility historically have always represented a buying opportunity. So if it's up, if the market's high and it's peaked and it's gone down, okay, that's a buying opportunity.
Yes.
When the fundamental backdrop, as I was describing, are strong like they are today.
Mm-hmm. So that's good. So those of you with money out there who weren't sure what to do, it's time to buy, right?
That's right. That's right. The most important
so
thing.
So you need to get a hold of Cheri and make a sensible buy.
There you go. Because the most important thing that a financial advisor can do for their client is to encourage them to stay invested when there's a lot of volatility.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And not let your emotion and your fear cause you to do something that's not in your highest good.
Right. Exactly.
So
exactly.
Speaking of the way you work for your clients and their highest good, as I mentioned to our listeners already, Cheri's all about educating, not just advising. She wants the women that she works with to really understand why they're doing what they're doing with her.
Exactly.
Correct?
Exactly.
And she puts her money where her mouth is, guys. She puts on these events that I'm telling you are extraordinary because I have been to one. And I want her to tell you about the one that's coming up and then go immediately to your computer or your phone and register. You won't regret it.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you,
Tell
Paula.
us what's happening, Cheri, and when.
Well, yes, I am on November the 10th.
November the 10th. Okay, is that a Saturday?
That's a Saturday, and it's a Saturday afternoon from 1 to 3:30, and we're calling it Watch Your Finances Bloom.
Nice. Watch Your Finances Bloom. And to show you how tied together this lady is, where is it going to be with a title like that?
At the Botanic Garden.
There you go. Perfect.
In Encinitas.
And that is an exquisite place. Beautiful place.
It is a lovely place. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And as long as you RSVP and get your name on the list, your admission is taken care of for you. So your admission's to the park. So if you want to stay after the event and walk around the park and enjoy the facilities, you can.
Oh.
And yes, so when we're at the event on Saturday afternoon, I'm going to be sharing retirement strategies, comprehensive income strategies, and ways to optimize and make the most out of Social Security benefits.
Oh, fabulous. Right. That's all really important information.
Right.
And may I say, having experienced this before, for any of you that just thought, oh, dear, that sounds pretty heavy and I'm not really into finances, trust me, she does this talk. It is fascinating. You will learn from it. And then are we doing like last time? Will there be food after that? And then
Yes,
flowers?
yes. Well, actually, I
Tell
have
them.
I have a couple other ladies speaking. I am
Oh.
bringing in a CPA that's going to be talking about the new tax code changes
Oh, good.
and how that will affect you, whether you're an individual like an employee, or you're retired, or you're an entrepreneur, a sole proprietor, or we like to say to the women, a
Fempreneur.
fempreneur,
We love
right?
that word.
Entrepreneur, fempreneur. And that is being done by CPAs with CPAs from CPA moms, which are all about empowering women with this information as well. So they're a
great.
great fit. And then I have a woman with a female-owned company who's a Medicare expert, and she'll be sharing tips and the do's and don'ts. If you haven't signed up, but you're going to, you're looking at it, so on and so forth, because open enrollment is getting started. Actually, it was today, or the
today,
15th, or
the 15th. Yeah.
the 15th. So yes, we will be enjoying a nice spread of food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I have a flower designer that's going to come in, or will be there, and will be guiding us in creating and building your own flower bouquet that you get to take home with you and enjoy. And this time, I'm so excited because we're having a bouquet that's going to have some longevity to it.
Oh.
And that's right, just a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. So
Nice.
with TLC, you ladies will be able to use your flower bouquets for Thanksgiving. Yes.
And
yes.
when she says bouquets, we're not talking, 5 or 6 flowers that you'd hold in your hands. We are talking arrangement. The flowers were so abundant last time. I think next week I'm going to bring the picture of me after
great.
holding my arrangement. I mean, that thing was gorgeous. And I had it for 2 or 3 weeks. It still lasted. And this flower arranger that she has working with the ladies is charming and funny and wonderful. Is it the same one?
Well, actually, it's not Renee.
Oh,
I'm sorry
okay.
to say, but we have another gentleman by the name of David who is Renee's friend.
Oh,
because
then
Renee
he's
had
gotta
to
be a
be,
good
yes, Renee had to leave town on some other business. But David and Renee have worked together for years and years and years. And David teaches flower design classes at UCSD.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's fabulous as well.
Are you
so.
guys hearing this? I mean, let's just do a quick review. Beautiful setting, the San Diego Botanic Gardens. You're in there free. Then Cheri is going to educate you about retirement strategies and several of those other areas that she mentioned that are critical for we girls to know about, especially as we go down the road of life.
That's right.
And then her husband, who is a chef, feeds us something wonderful, followed by flowers that she gives us and that we then learn how to arrange.
Right. And you get to take home and enjoy.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, it's a perfect day. I am not kidding. I was there last time. I will be there this time. And because we have big announcements to make that day, too.
We do.
But we're gonna give them a little
do.
sneak preview today, aren't we?
Yes.
Because this lady right here by my side is very soon going to be launching her own podcast. And Cheri, tell them a little bit about it. What are you calling it and what's it going to do?
Well, we are going to watch our finances bloom in the podcast. And by doing so is all about building that financial literacy muscle that I talk about, right? And flexing it, right? So we can flex it.
Yes, we want to flex it.
And so every show, I will be having a different guest on that will be sharing their knowledge and their expertise about financial matters. So if you're single, if you're widowed, if you're married, if you're a business owner, if you're you're an employee for many years and want to make some changes, some shifts, transition into something else in your life, this is a show you're going to want to listen to about finances to gain more knowledge and move forward in your life.
So, very exciting. And I think we're going to be calling it Bloom with Blair.
That's right.
I love it. So, if you want to see your finances bloom, you want to catch that show. And we will be giving you more information about it as we get closer. But in the meantime, Cheri, where did they go if they want to RSVP for your event?
So you want to go to my website, Cheri Blair, that's Cheri Blair, Blair, financialservices.com/events.
Okay, /events. Cheri Blair, financialservices.com/events. And we will also have that information in the show notes on changeitupradio.com.
Great.
So, my goodness, this show has flown by. It's time to say goodbye. Cheri, thank you for all the fabulous information you shared once again. Thank you to
Paula.
all our listeners for being with us. You know we're here on KCBQ on Sunday evenings at 9 on AM 1170 and FM 96.1. We're on every major podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Blog Talk, and all the others. And as I always say, if you can't remember all that, just ask Alexa.
There you go.
Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Let me get the live stream. Thank you. Thank you, live streamers, for being with us. Hope you learned a lot today, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. We normally live stream at 11 o'clock on Tuesday mornings, so we'll hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.